Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna be doing a girl talk because I haven't done a girl talk since last year when I did my first girl talk, and that was just an overall video of like different topics I wanted to like talk about. But today's girl talk is going to be about the healthy relationship after the toxic relationship, and how the healthy relationship is sometimes a lot harder than the toxic one you're in or was in. So I just want to talk about my perspective, how it was for me to be in a healthy relationship after being in a toxic one for so long, and just like my point of view, how I handled things, how my communication changed, how my thought process changed, how it was hard for me to adjust to actually talking and not yelling or being ignored and not giving the cold shoulder, things like that, because everyone's toxic relationship is quite different. The relationship I was in was a 7-year relationship, which I had my child from, who's now 10 years old. And it was we were in a relationship very young. It was my first everything overall. And then adding a child to that did complicate things a tad bit. Not completely, because things were very complicated beforehand, but it did add on to like the dynamic of that relationship. I'm going to tell a little bit of that relationship just so girls can feel like they're not alone, so they can realize that these things do happen. Is it normal? No. But I know what it's like to be in a relationship like that and then feel alone and feel like you can't really talk to friends and family because no one's gonna quite understand like what you're going through, what you're feeling, things like that. I wanted to do a girl talk on this because I've been watching and listening to a lot of girls, and they're in these relationships and they're staying. They're talking, they're venting, they're telling their stories, they're doing videos and things like that, but no one's leaving. And I'm not doing this video for these girls to leave, because you leave when you're ready and you leave when you want to. But hopefully it's an eye-opener watching this and realizing that you are worth more than that. You know, love you so you can get that love in return from someone else. But being in these toxic relationships and being with these men, even women, that are not loving you correctly doesn't mean because that you feel like that's the love you deserve that you should stay. That is not the love anyone deserves, whether it's a man or a female. You don't deserve that type of love. You shouldn't. It's just not good for your mental. It's not good for your physical, emotionally. All of that is terrible. So I'm going to start off. Sorry if you hear noise. I have Jersey Shore in the background. My daughter's home. I look like I just woke up and it's only 11:25 in the freaking morning. Did I say the washing machine's on? Yeah, so it's a lot, but it's better than, no background noise. So what I'm going to start off with is that I grew up with my child's father, and we had known each other all our lives, and we got in a relationship. I was 15 at the time, he was 16. He's a year older than me. Things were okay. Now, with this being my first relationship and first everything, I had no clue or an idea of what a relationship in general should look like, feel like, and be like. Our prime examples are our parents, but I don't want to say that for everyone. So things were fine. I should have known from the beginning that the things that were being told to me that I was going through and witnessing was like love bombing, I want to say. But also, we were teenagers, we were kids. Neither one of us knew what the hell we were doing. Things were fine. Things did get complicated throughout the time. Time passes, we're a couple years in, and I realized that I no longer have friends. My male friends are completely gone, non-existent. My male best friend, who was like my brother, blood couldn't have made us any thicker, closer, any of that. His family welcomed me like their child, and my family welcomed him like their child. Our parents treated us like we were siblings. Our parents loved one another. My mom looked out for him like his parents looked out for me. And it was heartbreaking when that long time friendship came to an end for a relationship that I thought was worth it. No relationship is worth your friends. Number one rule to me, don't let your friends go, because when this relationship ends, they're gonna be there to pick up the pieces and pick you up and put you back together. They're always there. They're always there. If you have a true friendship with these people, they're always there. And choosing that person over them, you'll be left alone. And I learned that the hard way. I was alone. Not fully alone, because then, let me tell a story, like, timeline. So, we were together around 6 months, let's say, right? He met my male best friend off rip. He felt like, this guy's into you. He likes you. He's probably been liked you. I don't think he's really your best friend. I never got those vibes. At the time, he would just, be like, well, you're not going to see it. You just want to believe that every guy can be your friend, and guys only want one thing from being friends with a female. So hearing that consistently and constantly became my type of mindset. Being in this relationship for so long, it became, well, females and males can't be friends, because that just means that they are going to like one another. They're going to want to be intimate, things like that, like, because that's what became my inner voice, if that makes sense. So I lost him. I also lost my other male friends just from cutting them off and feeling like, my significant other does not like you, does not agree with me having male friends. Crazy and stupid. I did have a couple female friends, but now at the time, everyone's going off to college, doing their own thing. We're all trying to figure out young adulthood and find ourselves, because that we're all no longer in high school anymore, and we're just trying to figure out what's our path. We're just figuring shit out, right? So now I'm completely alone. I have my family and his family. I did have one good friend. She was even around when I was pregnant with my daughter. Me and her no longer talk, just from things happening and just outgrowing one another, but she held it down for a long time. We didn't talk consistently, but if I needed someone to talk to, she was there. She would come visit. So that relationship did become very emotionally and verbally abusive. I don't say I was in an abusive relationship because it wasn't physical, but yes, it's the same thing. It was very abusive. He was very manipulating, and I knew no better. So to me, as sad as this may sound, I thought that this is what all relationships were like. I thought this is how it went, and no matter who you were with, this was still going to be the outcome of the relationship and stuff like that. And we were together 7 years, and the 7 years were very rocky. They were very hard, and it was rough. I was alone. My family knew to an extent. They didn't know everything, because I wanted to protect him, and then I didn't want conflict. I was terrible with confrontation. I didn't want to deal with the mess and the chaos that I knew was going to stem from me letting them know, like, hey, this is what's going on in my relationship. So time passes. I'm now alone, and I'm always with him. And if I'm not always with him, I'm just home with my siblings, my family, cousins maybe from time to time, things like that. And now I am 18, about to be 19. My birthday's coming up, and I find out I'm pregnant. And it's like I knew, but I was super in denial because I didn't want to believe I was. My 19th birthday, I find out I'm pregnant with my daughter. I tell him things don't go well. We broke up for a little bit. It was just a mess. 19. If I'm 19, I would catch up to him, so he's probably 19 at the time also. And we're just figuring things out. I'm home, confident in this. But the me now and who is telling the story, had I had this type of mindset or something similar, things would have been handled so differently, because that wasn't love at that point. When I was pregnant with my daughter, we weren't supposed to make it that far. 7 years, we were never supposed to be together that long. That relationship wasn't even supposed to happen because we were friends. We were best friends. He was my best friend at the time. Like, well, not at the time, but like when I, like, how it ended up in the friendship was he was my best friend and he asked me to be his girlfriend, and I was just like, no, I don't see you like that. I don't want that. And I gave in, and I remember just not wanting any of that. And then it happened, and it was just, I can look back at it and remember that those 7 years were such a dark time for me. Like, if I have ever experienced depression, it was in those 7 years. I'm not going to cry throughout this video. If I have to pause to cry off camera, I will do that, but I'm not going to cry. It was very dark. It was lonely, and there were more bad times than good times. I remember crying a lot, being alone a lot, and just feeling like this is what the rest of my life is going to feel like and be like if I'm with this person. Like, you know? And then I had my daughter. I gave birth. And things were just, again. Now, I'm 19. He's 20. I'm still 19 because my birthday's in the summer. His birthday's sometime in winter. Now we have her. And I just remember feeling like, am I settling? Like, this is it? This is what my life is going to be like? I'm so young, and this is it, you know? And time passes, and my daughter's about to be 3, and we break up. And this is our official breakup. We're broken up, completely done. And I think I cried because it was more of codependency than love. At that time when that breakup happened, there was no love. I was not in love with that man. I had love for that man because he was the father of my child, but that was it at that time. And I remember just as time passed feeling like, oh my God, I'm free. There's freedom. I don't feel like I'm suffocating. I don't feel like I'm alone. I don't feel like I'm gonna die. I don't feel like the world is crashing down on me. Being with someone that's very verbally abusive is hard because you start believing everything they tell you about you. I would be told, like, you know, if we ever break up and you leave me, nobody's gonna ever love you. You have a kid. No guy wants a girl with a kid. Any guy that's gonna be with you is gonna be with you for your body, not because he loves you. You're only going to pull men because of your body and your face. You're a pretty girl and you have a great body, but no one's gonna want to cuff you. No one's gonna wife you. You're gonna be nothing. You're gonna be a slut. You are going to be a girl that sleeps around, that has a kid. No one, you know, just things like that. The same thing. Nobody wants somebody with a kid. No guy wants that. That's baggage. That's just nonsense. Nobody wants to deal with that. And that became my inner voice. I used to think, well, then you know what? I'll be single forever because I have a child and no one wants to deal with that. I will be single forever, and it'll just be me and her, and we'll ride this out and we'll be okay. And I was single for 3 years. And there were some great 3 years. Yes, it was rough because it was a healing process. I had just gone out of a 7-year relationship and now I have a little one. You know, it wasn't a normal breakup. This is someone that I wish I could have just said goodbye to and never seen again. No, I had to co-parent with this person and see them in passing or birthday parties and holidays. So it was like, I gotta, you know, develop some tough skin and see how I'm gonna do this. It did help that the person wasn't really around. Came around sometimes, didn't look for her really, so it kind of helped. It's sad, but it was beneficial for me in my healing process. 3 years later, the man I'm with now makes me want to cry. I met him, and we were working in Birdolph Goodman on 5th Avenue, and I think we both started working for the holidays. Like, you know how the holidays come and they start doing like that hiring season stuff, so we did that. I think he was there a month before me, so I think I came during the seasonal hiring. And I remember starting there late 2019, and I saw him in passing. I saw him a couple times in passing, and I was like, he's cute or whatever. And I had told my friends, because one of my best friends had worked there also. She was the one that let me know that her job was hiring. And then there was a friend that I met through her, who they worked together, and we were just like the Three Musketeers at work. Like, we were just, those are my girls. They are still my girls. But yeah, I remember telling them, and they got a hold of him, and I was off the next day. So I remember him requesting me on IG, and that's how it took off. Fast forward, because I'm not going to get into details. I can make a separate video about both things. I am just trying to make some points and just do a comparison and show you girls or whoever's watching this what you shouldn't put up with. So, being with someone for 7 years, I was verbally and emotionally abused. I was called out of my name multiple times. I was degraded. I was told I was going to be nothing. I was threatened to have my daughter taken away because I wasn't a fit or good enough parent to raise her. Sorry, I had to cut that off. So my now boyfriend, bless his soul. We met. He had just gone out of his own version of a toxic relationship. And when we were talking, we both agreed, we could take it slow. There's no rush. We were just enjoying each other's company. We did end up in a relationship. And I can tell you, from the minute that I met that man to this very day, it's been completely different. Anytime there's a disagreement, an argument, he's never called me out of my name. He's never belittled me. He's never made me feel this big or alone. He actually showed me to communicate, because anytime I was going through something, I kept it to myself until it was resolved, and then I would tell him. And it wasn't until he's like, I never know what's going on until after the fact. You'll handle it, you go through the emotions, and then you'll come and tell me about it. And he's just like, we're a team. How am I supposed to help you if you're not letting me in? And I never realized, that I did that. And I did that in general. I did that in my friendships. I did that with family. I wouldn't tell anyone what was going on until after the fact. Days have passed, weeks have passed, months have passed, and I'm like, hey, so this and that happened. And it was just like, damn. And I think it was just a trauma response to feeling like I had to do things on my own. And when you're with someone, they are your partner. You guys are a team against whatever is the issue. It's not you guys against one another, And he showed me that. He showed me to definitely communicate, open up. I don't have to hide every time things are not that great. If I don't like something that was said or done by him, let him know so he can change it and fix it and reassure me and make me feel better. He did know the things I went through in my past relationship, because that's what you do when you're getting to know one another. And a lot of people say, you never let the new person you're with, know what happened in the past, because it lets them think it's okay for them to do it to you, something like that. To me, that's stupid. I'm gonna tell you what happened to me so you can know why I move the way I do, why I carry myself the way I carry myself, or why I respond to things the way I do, And I did let him know that I was a very sensitive person. I suffer from anxiety. I let him know I had a daughter. I remember we wrote whatever, and I let him know, hey, I have a child. And he's like, yeah, no, I saw her on your Instagram. She's so cute. How old is she? And I just remember being in shock and holding my phone, what? Because I was always under the impression that the minute I said I had a child, that was it. There's nothing else for us to talk about. So I thought he was just going to be like, yeah, I thought it was just going to die there. And it didn't. And that man is a wonderful stepfather to my daughter. I couldn't ask for someone better. He showed up and never showed out. Never stepped out and backed out. He's been in her life since she was 5, and she is now 10. And we're about to be together for 5 years. And he's 2 years younger than me. For someone to have never been in a relationship with someone that has a child, he's handled it with grace. He's handled it so well. And he was also the person to show me how to love myself when This man met me. I don't think he ever realized how heartbroken how broken I was. I didn't know how to love myself. Even the 3 years being single before meeting him, I felt like I had a slight idea of self-love, but I didn't know how to apply it to myself. And girls, my beautiful ladies, please learn how to love yourself first before you get involved with anyone, whether it may be a girl or a guy. Please love yourself first. That plays such a big part in how you let the next person love you. And if you have no love for yourself, I feel like that person can see that and feel like they can do whatever when it comes to you. Because if you don't love yourself, I can do whatever. You know, put boundaries, set up boundaries. I had no boundaries, and I feel like that's why a lot happened. That's why a lot was said. I knew nothing of nothing. And if I can stop a girl, especially a young girl, from going through what I went through, I'm going to do that. I'm going to always advocate for my beautiful young ladies, because we're not really taught or spoken to really about what to accept in a relationship. We shouldn't be dating when we're teenagers. We don't know what the hell we're doing. We start dating, then we start being intimate with these people, and we just make a mess. We make a freaking mess of everything because we have no clue what we're doing. And if you're coming from a home where you're not supposed to be dating, or your parents are not very open-minded to you dating, and you can't really talk to them, whether it's your mom or your dad, about what's going on, it becomes more of an issue for you than you may know. And you know, at the time I had just turned 25 when I met my boyfriend, and there was a lot of firsts I was doing at the age of 25. My first date was with that man. I had a lot of firsts, and I used to be so embarrassed, and I used to feel like, oh my God, I'm like a hermit crab, because he's showing me all these new things that I should have known before meeting him. There was a lot of things I wasn't doing before meeting him. He was this open, outgoing person that was just so lively, and I used to dress very modest. I was very like in my shell, and I've always been a quiet and shy person, but when he met me, I was extremely shy and very like to myself, and scared to, like, you know, just be myself, I guess, because I was always put down. So doing that for a certain amount of years, I kept that, and it took me a minute to come out my shell. Like now, I can look back and think I'm nowhere near where I used to be. I want people to be with someone that just brings out the better in them. Like, you can be this awesome, fantastic person, and it's just a bonus being with someone that can bring out more. They can bring out more. That's such a great feeling. It's such an awesome thing. You know, you should be an awesome human being before you meet someone. But if you can be more awesome because the person you're with is just showing you new sides of yourself, why not? We taught ourselves, me and my boyfriend did teach ourselves things. He came from a relationship where communication was them yelling at one another when things were bad. And with me, I had a very calm demeanor. I didn't want to yell. I didn't like yelling. Yelling like that used to trigger me. It used to trigger my anxiety, and it used to put me in a place, and it put fear in me. But that's for another day, another story time. And when things are not well, he'll raise his voice, and he already has a deep voice. But he'll raise his voice, and he's so much better now. It wasn't so bad, but it was something that I wasn't used to. And he changed that. He does talk softer. When I'm upset about things, he'll ask, or he shouldn't have to ask, but I do openly talk to him about things. I don't want anyone to wait until years pass to realize that I don't want anyone to go through what I went through. I want girls to go into relationships loving themselves, knowing what they're going to put up with and not put up with. knowing what they're going to accept and not accept, knowing what they should be getting and not be getting. This is a conversation I will have with my daughter once she's interested in dating. I don't want her to experience anything I experienced when it came to dating. It was harsh. And someone might hear my story, because I'm not telling my story in this video. This video is just to show you that healthy relationship after that toxic relationship is a struggle. It's hard because you have to unlearn such bad habits. And I had to unlearn so much. And yes, I was happy to be in this brand new relationship, in this healthy relationship, but it was hard. It was like pulling teeth. It was extremely difficult. It was a learning process for both, because he was with someone that just argued all the time. He was with someone that didn't allow him to have female friends, and I was with someone that didn't allow me to have male friends. So when he told me about his female friends and having, because he has 2 best friends. He has a male and a female best friend, and I was like, okay. And to him, he was just like, what the hell? And he had told me a story he had went through, and I was like, I get it. I saw both point of views. And I'm like, but you should, I'm glad you never got rid of that friendship, because I made that mistake, letting go of my friends for someone that I'm not with. And even still, then I should have saw that that's not how that works. That's not, that's not worth it. And when I met his friends and his female friends, those are my girls right there. Like, to this day, God forbid we were to ever split, no one can remove those girls from my life. His female best friend, love that girl to death. She's an awesome, beautiful human and soul. All those girls, they welcomed me, but when they met me, they welcomed me with open arms. It was very comforting and welcoming. And I've always had issues with females. Females didn't like me. I don't know what it was about me. Females didn't like me. I didn't have great relationships with females. It was always something. So to be with this guy and then be around, he also has a lot of guy friends. He doesn't just have a lot of female friends. But the girls were definitely the first people I met out of his friends, and oh my God, I love all of them down. Like, all of them. They're the best people to walk this earth, and there's just more to life, ladies. Don't settle. Dealing with a man that's physically abusive and he's beating you to the ground and just doing the most terrible things to you, saying the most terrible things to you, making you cry, and just look at yourself in the mirror like, this is it. That's not love. That's not love, because the man that genuinely loves you will look at you in an argument and just talk to you gently without calling you out your name, without putting hands on you, without dragging you around the house, without marking your body, without breaking anything on you. He wouldn't do that. The things that were said to me were rough. I can't remember a lot of them now, and I thank my brain that is probably just protection now after so many years. But nobody out there deserves that. No one. Relationships are hard, but they're not that hard. I don't ever want anyone to have the mindset I had, where it's going to be like this with any person. Like, it doesn't matter who I'm with, I'm going to still have to go through this. Absolutely not. Nope. That person has issues. They also don't have self-love. They don't have boundaries. They probably had a terrible upbringing, a terrible childhood, and they don't know how to cope with anything that goes on inside, and they're projecting that and taking that out on you. That has nothing to do with you. What I would say is simply quickly remove yourself from that. Remove yourself. Run as fast as you can and never look back. Ever. Never look back. There's better out there. There's so much better out there. It's crazy. Like, my boyfriend, I used to look at him and just be like, you're a normal human being. Like, you're normal. None of us are perfect. None of us are normal. We're all a little weird in a way, right? But it was such a huge, how can I put it? It was a huge jump from what I was used to and what I experienced to him. How can I put it? He's just a wonderful man. He really is. I always tell him, I'm like, I commend you. I don't know how you put up with me. And to him, he's like, me either. And we'll laugh or whatever. But that man, I have to give him his flowers. I do. I have to give him his flowers because he handled me as gently as he could while he was healing. Because he was healing when I met him. He was only 2 months single from a 2-year relationship. And he was just trying to find himself and figure things out. I was still trying to find myself and figure myself out. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I thought I had an idea. I had no clue. And I would hope that I helped him in his healing process. Because I didn't come to him completely healed. I did come to him a little broken, little cracks in me. I've told him so much. Your person's out there, and I always say he's my person, and literally the love of my life. I always say that. I don't see myself with anyone else, and this is definitely my first adult relationship because my last relationship I was a teenager. I was a freaking kid. I had no clue what I was doing. He had no clue what he was doing, and we created a mess, and we brought a child into that mess. What I'm thankful for is that she never witnessed things that were said to me and how I was treated. She has no clue of that. So thank God for that, because a lot of kids don't have that luxury or that blessing. A lot of them have to experience that, witness that. And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. I hope that you don't hear the intro to this. I don't even have the remote to skip it. So my apologies. You just hear me like giving you advice and then you have a Jersey shirt in the back with Snookies saying, you know? But if my boyfriend is watching this video, I love you, love bug, and you are a wonderful human being. Never doubt yourself as a human, as a man or anything. You have showed me so much, and I love you to death. I'm grateful for him. It was this whole thing is still a learning experience because I watch what he does for me and my daughter, and it's so true. A man will do for you. What is it? Because my brain just went blank. But it's like, if he truly loves you and genuinely cares for you, he will do for you. He will show up for you in every way, shape, or form. He'll be there for you, and that's out there, ladies. Like, don't settle. Don't think that man you're laying up with is it. You guys had a terrible day. Like, all day was terrible. He put hands on you. He called you names. You guys argued. He probably kicked you out. He probably blocked you on social media, blocked your number, cheated on you, had a kid on you, and then you guys are laid up. And because you're in that cuddle position, you're like, yeah, I love him. This is it. That's not love, my love. That's not love. That's not love. A lot of these situations are codependency. I do feel like a lot of girls have abandonment issues, and your upbringing and your childhood does play a huge form in your relationship. I'm sorry, but it does, because that's where you learn boundaries. That's where you learn what love feels like from your parents, from your mom or your dad, depending if you're female or male. You see how your parents treat one another. You see what your dad is doing for your mom and what your mom is doing for your dad. That I feel like that's where you're supposed to learn your whole relationship dynamic, thought process, all of that, and depending on how that was growing up, sometimes for some people they feel like, well, if dad did that for mom and it could have been so shitty, that's what's gonna happen for me. And that's not the case. I really hope that whoever's watching this takes from this and understands. I hope it's an eye-opener. I hope that after you're done watching this video, you just sit, look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, are you genuinely happy? do you love yourself? Do you genuinely love yourself? Do you feel like the person you're with genuinely loves you? Or if they just are with you for whatever reason. Ask yourself, have you smiled more in your relationship than you have cried? Or have you cried more than you have smiled in your relationship? No relationship is worth losing yourself. Nobody's worth losing yourself, losing your family, losing your friends. I lost myself, and it took me a long time to find me. I was a shell of a person. I was a fucking shell of a person. I don't even know who I was. I was gone, and obviously it worked because there was a rebirth in the process, which I feel like we're all gonna go through that, no matter if it's a relationship or not, or a friendship. You're supposed to go through rebirths. That means you're developing, you're changing, you're growing. But in the way I did it, I don't think anyone else should go through that ever. It's rough. And I hope that this talk was almost a big sister talk. Nobody should be kicking you out of their home, your home, or the home that you guys share. Nobody should be putting hands and feet on you. No one should be talking down on you. No one should be verbally abusing you. When things are bad, you guys work it out. It doesn't work where you're now apologizing and the person is just like, yeah, I know I'm right. Yeah, you better apologize. Like, right, that's not it at all. And I know there's someone out there that's going through what I went through or worse, and I just hope that you remove yourself from that situation. There's more to life. You have so much life to live. Do you want to lose your life because of this relationship? Do you really it's not worth it. Nothing is worth losing your life. Nothing. Especially a relationship. I do hope that whoever's watching this has a good support system, whether it's friends or family, co-workers, but I hope that you have people or a person to rely on. But don't stay. Don't settle, because that's what you're doing. You're settling, and you deserve more than that. And you should love you. You should love you. You have so much to bring to the table. You have so much to offer. And you deserve the love you put out there. Don't ever feel like that's the love you deserve. No one deserves that kind of love but an evil person, And even still then. But I hope that this video was helpful to whoever needs it, and to hear it. You're not alone. We all have gone through, and this is part of life, but there's definitely a rainbow at the end. And get your life back, get you back, get your friends back, get the sun shining you back, get the life back. Don't settle. But this was a girl talk and a big sister talk to all my wonderful ladies, and I hope that you all have a beautiful day. I love you all, and to whoever's watching, just really watch and listen, and I hope that you take my advice. And yes, I'll see you in the next video.